Hello, my fellow humans, and welcome back to Scatter Love Tarot with your girl coming at you with another pick a card reading. Thank you to everyone that continues to be a supportive part of this journey with me. I'm so excited and truly honored to be sharing this experience with you. And if you happen to be new, welcome. We are all here sharing this human experience together. And this is a safe space to show up as your highest, most aligned, loving, authentic selves. We do things completely differently here on this channel. So with that being said, if the message happens to resonate, it would mean the world to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. Also keeping in mind that if there are triggers that should arise, or if the message just doesn't feel like it's yours, there's no need to force it to fit, okay? So today we are going to do what makes you different from other people. And I felt really called to using the Lantern Oracle by Angelina Mirabito. And we're going to see what comes through today. I am really excited to do this reading. I like doing these readings. And it's weird. I pulled out the incense and it's got like this split. I don't know if you can see it. The split stick on it. I thought it was two different incense, but it's one. It just has a split stick on it. It's weird. So I feel like this is already going to be a synchronicity that has to do with the reading, but we'll get into it and we'll find out. Let's get to your prayer. It's a pretty dreary day today, and I've seen so many crows, so that could be synchronistic to someone as well. Right before I started the reading, there was 3 crows sitting outside the window here. Just hanging out. Cawing, of course. Ah, caw, they're so loud. I love crows, but they are very loud. They're massive too. Not as big as ravens, but they are pretty big birds. My beloved source, this prayer is for anyone and everyone that comes on to this reading, whether it's for a moment's time or for the entire time. Sometimes we've singled ourselves out because we do feel so vastly different from others. Like, how are we ever supposed to belong? How are we ever supposed to be seen if we're so different? And why should we embrace our differences if that's what's making us feel ostracized and singled out? But the reality is that it's because of those differences and not embracing those differences that we unknowingly cast ourselves aside. We say we're not good enough. We say that this is weird, or that this is different and unique, and everyone is going to laugh at me or point at me or call me out or ridicule me in some way, shape, or form because it's not how others do it. It's not how others expect things to be done. But the reality of the situation is, if we can't accept ourselves, how can we ever ask other people to accept us? We're asking others to accept us so only then can we accept ourselves. But waiting and waiting and waiting turns into a torment and a torture that's nearly impossible to withhold and to withstand. So today I ask that you open our hearts and give us the courage to begin to accept our differences, to accept ourselves as we are in this moment, and to know that as we are enough, and we have always been enough right now. As these words are spoken upon this tribe and onto this reading, so shall they be. Amen. Aho. Ase. Thank you, thank you, thank you, my beloved source. Thank you. All right, let's get that set up over there. Move the guidebook and get to shuffling. Excuse me. All right. What makes you different from other people? So, source, what Lantern Oracle card is going to help us better understand this message today? What makes you different from other people? What makes you different from other people? What Oracle card is going to help us better understand this message today, source? What would you like to come through? What makes you different from other people? Okay, thank you. What makes you different from other people? All right, pile one. What makes you different from other people? Source, what oracle card is going to help us better understand this message today? Thank you. All right, pile two. What makes you different from other people? Source, what message is going to help us better understand this today? Thank you. Okay, pile number three. What makes you different from other people? Source, what oracle card is going to help us better understand this? Thank you. All right, collective energy. What do we got? Sharing. I love that this came out. And right now, this is the week before Thanksgiving at the time of me recording this. And so that's also synchronistic because it's a time of sharing and having this deep gratitude for one another. It says there's giving and receiving and giving. So what makes you different from other people? It's pretty profound, actually, as a collective. You are a giving individual. You go out of your way to help people in need. Like you're not waiting for someone to step up to the plate and to be courageous to help someone when you see someone struggling. You're the person that does that. This is like, you know, when you see all these videos online of people going out of their way to help others, it's like you're just naturally doing that. And you don't need a video to date your time and your heroic acts, right? You just naturally do it from a good place, from the love and compassion that's in your heart. And it comes from this place of you have struggled in your life with various things. And maybe the things that you help people with aren't super grand, like giving them $1 million or something like that. Like everybody has $1 million just sitting around. But you understand what I'm saying? Like it could just be you're seeing someone in the grocery store and they're struggling to reach an item on the top shelf. And you are taller and you naturally are just like, hey, I got that for you. Don't worry about it. And you grab it and you give it to them. And that's just that simple exchange. Or someone is struggling to, you know, cross the road and you go up and you maybe carry their bags and you help them cross the road or whatever it is. It could be just someone needs help with the phone or someone needs help with directions or something like that. Or you see homeless people on the side of the road and you give them food and you give them water, you give them beverages or something. And you just do it because you feel so compelled to. This is something that drives you, is your compassion. It's a very much a gut instinct that drives you into action. And when you do this, you recognize that people are deeply grateful for this small gift of love. Most people are very receptive. And of course, there are people who aren't receptive, but I feel like the people who are receptive definitely outweighs those who are not. And there's something about this coming down through the mother's line. So through your mom, through your mom's mother, through your grandma's mother. This is something that comes from that. And you don't have to be a woman yourself. Whatever you identify with, divine masculine, divine feminine, man, woman, non-binary, none of that really matters. What I'm saying is this comes from the mother's line, where it was natural for them to put themselves on the back burner in order to ensure that everyone closest to them was lifted up. And for you, I feel like you've had to step into this place of taking care of yourself first so that you can help others up. It's not about lifting them up above you. It's about helping them up to the place that you're at now. So when you see people are struggling, you're naturally going to reach out your hand and pick them back up on their feet, not put them on a pedestal. And so there's something about healing the mother wound here through this nurturance of others. And this is what makes you different from other people, because most people, when someone is struggling, they either stand and stare, point and laugh, record it, or do nothing at all. And you're not that person. You're going to go out of your way, and you may not ever know a stranger because you're so friendly and welcoming and inviting. You have no problem connecting with people in this manner. So let's see what this says from the book. Number 33, a master number with your angels are with you, a time of creativity. You are being guided. It says, while solitude is necessary at times, our lives also need to be shared for sustainable and healthy living as well as growth. The true sharing of ourselves does not take away anything from us. It is not about giving all that we have. It does not come from a place of fear or lack or a bartering mindset. We freely offer what we have from a place of abundant love and a sense of completeness. True receiving is from this state too. Our spirit self opens in communion with those who are safe and of a pure heart. Those who are not individuals who require our discernment and refrain when sharing. To discriminate between who and what enhances or depletes our energy is necessary. If there's a constant feeling that something is not right or does not make sense, then it is probably not the right choice for us to continue engaging with that person, group, or organization. It is okay to take time to find and gradually get to know our circle of transparent and trustworthy people. Those we can feel safe and comfortable enough with to open to cannot be forced or accumulated in a rush. It is okay to ask when unsure whether something unspoken is expected in return for receiving what seems to be given freely. True sharing is transparent and expects no form of payment in exchange. Whether others give back of their own volition is irrelevant to individuals who are not motivated by giving in order to get. Exactly. The giving and receiving through knowing others and being known is the greatest sharing of all. There is much empowering value in truly seeing and being seen, hearing and being heard, loving and being loved by one's circle. Shared experiences can heal and support us in all facets of life. Together, we can become more of who we are. We are exponentially enhanced by the diversity of experience and multiple perspectives. When we are in good, genuine company, our presence, willingness, wisdom, and abundance is mutually brought to the table. We grow in ways that are inaccessible to us when alone. And it says the message here is giving and receiving within your circle magnifies the energy, growth, and the love in your life. So, yeah, and they're saying sharing need not involve anything material. It can be a walk with someone, your time, a smile, and a conversation. So, exactly, what you're giving doesn't have to be money, right? And we're seeing more of that material exchange, and everybody's like, oh, there needs to be more of this, which I agree and I disagree with, because I feel like there's people who are doing it just for the accolades. For you, it's never been about the accolades. It's been about simply having a full cup and letting that overflow onto others, because that's who you are. And that's a very beautiful energy that makes you different from other people. I love that that's how this reading started. Okay, so let's get this set up and we will go from there. All right. Make sure that we are in frame here. Okay, so for pile number 1, we do have this dice with Pluto on it for you to choose from. Or we have this beautiful piece of blue agate. For pile number 2, we do have this dice with Mars on it. Or we have this beautiful piece of amethyst for you to choose from. For pile number 3, we have this dice with the North Node on it. Or we have this rhodonite obelisk for you to choose from. So we have pile 1, pile 2, and pile 3. And whichever pile you feel drawn to, that should be the one for you. And I will see you over there. Hello, my fellow human. If you were drawn to this dice with Pluto on it, or if you felt called to this piece of blue agate, or if you happen to be called to this card during the shuffle, this is going to be a reading on what makes you different from other people. First, I would like to say thank you to anyone and everyone who continues to support the channel and be here with me. And for those of you that are new, welcome. We're all here sharing this human experience together, and this is a safe space to show up as your highest, most aligned, loving, authentic selves. We do things differently here on this channel, so if the message does happen to resonate, it would mean the world to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. And just know that sometimes triggering statements do come up, and if there are triggering statements, there's no need to force it to fit. However, reminding ourselves that triggers are a beautiful way for us to dig deeper into our healing journey as well. So let me alter the camera just a tad bit here, and we'll get into it. So what makes you different from other people? Pile number 1. Source, what would you like to share with us today? What makes you different from other people? Pile number 1. Source, what would you like to come through? Okay, so we've got the second house, we've got Capricorn energy, and we've got the South Node. First and foremost, you're not who you used to be. So you used to have a lot of burdens, and it's not that you don't still have burdens, but you are learning how to work through those burdens in a very graceful way. Well, what truly makes you different from other people is the fact that you've changed. I laugh because it's just a funny thing. Like, so many people are so stuck on this, once of this, always of this. People don't change. But the truth is that if someone is looking at themselves and they don't like what they see, they can make a choice. And it takes a ton of bravery, like an absolute bucket load of courage in order to change oneself. But you've done that. You have become completely disciplined on your journey. And it's almost like a one-track mind. Like, this is where I'm going. This is who I want to be. And this is what I want to achieve in my life. I have the hiccups all of a sudden. And that's exactly what you're doing. You recognize your value and what you bring to the table, where at one point on your journey, you may have felt like you weren't enough. What you did was never enough. Like, you always had to prove yourself, or it was always a constant competition, a race to the finish line. There was a lot of chaotic energy that had been swirling around you, and it's almost as if people got used to you in that chaotic state. And now they approach you, and people who've known you from your past are suddenly met with this incredibly calm, collected, cool energy that is confident, and you're very loyal to yourself and loyal to what it is that you want to create. And that 180 has completely left people speechless. You are someone who may have been deeply loyal to a fault in your life. Like, you may have believed that once we've suffered through a hardship, like, we'll always be in each other's lives. And I feel like the journey has taught you that that is not the case. It's not the case, nor should it be the case. Although Loyalty is something that should be valued very highly in this journey. It's not oftentimes. And I feel like for you, it's a core value for you. And you do value it. And it's something that you put in high regard. And it has not been returned in high regard. And so you had to pivot where you were putting your loyalties. And so you have completely transformed who you are. And many people might think that it happened overnight, but the truth is that this has been a long and arduous journey that you have traveled on and traversed, and you have completely shattered the old you and integrated those pieces into the new you and have come out a whole, confident, complete, amazing individual. This is a very powerful energy already. I love that. All right, I am going to use my original Tarot Marseille deck because I feel like it's going to give us a much richer story today. And we're going to see what comes through. So what makes you different from other people? Source, what messages would you like to tell pile number 1? Pile number 1, what makes you different from other people? What makes you different from other people? Okay, thank you. What makes you different from other people? I feel like you may have... So I keep hearing the Jupiter line. Now, I've done a little bit of palmistry and studying it and stuff, so I'm not that, like, really good at the Jupiter's mound and all that stuff, but you may have a very prevalent Jupiter's mound or Jupiter line on your hand. So someone here could be into palmistry, and that makes you different. You know, it's not as common a way of fortune telling as maybe tarot, or even maybe doing like tea leaves or something like that, or runes, or, you know, even the astro dice, right? Like, it's not as, those are not common as tarot cards. Tarot cards is such a common way to do fortunes, and so maybe you do something like that. Now, it doesn't have to be fortune telling. This could be like along those same lines. There's something it's a very common industry, but you approach it from a very unique way. It's not a way that hasn't been approached before, but it's a way that works best for you. It's like a rare way of looking at things, a rare, old, outdated method that actually works far better than new methods, right? It's almost like you're the person who doesn't own a cell phone in a world full of cell phones. You still rely on a landline. That's the type of energy that I'm getting here. For those of you that are like, what the heck is a landline? Then that is not your message. Because I know there's going to be some out here, and that's cool. That's cool. We're in the day and age where there's a lot of people who don't even know what a payphone is. So, but yeah, you've learned how to persevere over very, very difficult situations. You never gave up. And a lot of people, if they were burdened with some of the things that you've had to experience, they would have just given up. Like, there would have been no, oh, we're going to do our best. We're going to keep going. I'm going to keep trying, and I'm going to overcome these hardships. Most people would have just thrown in the towel and said, I'm done. Life has basically beat me to a pulp, and I'm just going to lay on the ground and take it each time it comes. And for you, it was always about standing back up. Like, no matter how hard life threw punches at you, you still stand back up. To this day, you still stand back up. Okay. Yeah, a lot of Sagittarius energy coming in here. Leo energy as well. Okay, so you could be a Sag rising. You could have Sagittarius in the 8th house, the 7th house, the 2nd house. You could have Leo in the 8th house, Leo in the 5th house, Leo in the 12th house, or the 9th house is coming through as well. Okay? And if not, that's okay. That's just for those that need that additional confirmation. You've turned into this Temperance energy. You are a pro at integrating the shadow and the light. You're not just trying to be all the light, right? We can't. We live in a contrast world. If we were only the light, the shadow would disappear, but it means that if the shadow disappears, the light also disappears. So it's an integration of both, realizing that we both have the shadow and the light within us. We are all made up of the yin and yang symbol, right? Like, we're not separate from it. It is a part of us, and it will truly continue to be a part of us. And this is what makes you different from other people. It's like, so much of the time now in the spiritual journey, like, they're trying to just be one way. They're just trying to be light and love and happiness all the time. And then when those moments that happen in life, right, the ones that knock us down, they think that something's wrong with them because they can't maintain a positive attitude. But that's not how it is for you. For you, when life knocks you down, you dust yourself off, you feel whatever you need to feel, and you get back on it. Even if you can't smile today, it doesn't mean that the smile's not going to come tomorrow. And it's like a realist way of looking at it. You're not stuck in the trial, but you take the trial. You're not burdened by the trial, you face it. And it's something that not a lot of people are capable of doing. They would get so overwhelmed by their fear and their anxiety. And for you, fear and anxiety is a way for you to develop strength, character, to be able to handle a situation differently. There's been a lot of immature people in your life. There's been a lot of people who have tried to make you feel a certain way, or have tried to put their lives on your shoulder. They have tried to make it like you were responsible for where they came from. You know, I'm getting this energy here where it's like you have had people in your life where, oh, look, I would have never done this if it wasn't for pile number one, even though you had no control over the decision, the action, or whatever it was that they made or they did. But they somehow put it on you that it was your fault, and maybe other people believe them too, right? So like an example here would be like, say you have somebody in your life that hurt themselves, and you watched them hurt themselves, but you were trying to stop them from hurting themselves. And now they're hurt, and they're screaming at everyone, look at what pile one made me do. And you were like, I was trying to stop you. And everyone's like, well, why didn't you stop them? And you're like, I was trying to, but I'm not a superhuman. I can't, it's not like I'm like Superman and I can fly 5 feet in a blink of an eye, right? Like, I have to actually move like a human. But for you now, you recognize that was not your burden to carry. And I feel like for a long time, that was your burden. You had to carry that immaturity. You maybe had also, this is triggering, and again, I'm not gonna single out piles any longer. That's why I have a potential trigger warning on when the timestamps are. So I just want to put that forward before we get into this topic. So this is triggering what I'm about to step into, and it is tying into the reading itself. So you're forewarned as we're going forward. If this is something you don't want to listen to, that's okay. You can fast forward. But you could have experienced abuse as a child, sexual abuse as a child, especially with the Page of Wands in the reverse here at the very beginning of your reading. You could have dealt with, there's a lot of different kinds of abuse that come from that, but sexual abuse is the one that's standing out right now. And people could have blamed you. And the example that they're giving me here is like, you were the child that experienced something absolutely horrendous. Right? This is something that is horrendous. You never deserved it. And let me be the first to say, if you have not heard it, it was not your fault. Okay? None of it was your fault. And it was, I feel like what happened is that maybe you came forward and you told somebody about it, and that someone was like, well, you shouldn't have wore what you wore. You shouldn't have been, egging somebody on. And that's that feeling of, it's like, putting it on your shoulders when it was never yours to burden. It was like, there should have been someone who stood up for you and said, hey, This is not okay. We need to stand up for pile number one, because pile one is an innocent bystander in all of this. And I do not feel like that's something that you've ever experienced in your life, but you've been that loyal person to others because of a situation like that. Now, granted, it does not have to be sexual abuse. It can be just physical abuse, emotional abuse, even mental abuse, okay? But I feel like what happened is when you went to the people who you thought you could trust for help to get that support, they didn't help you. Instead, they made it feel like you were the problem, and you weren't the problem. And someone needs to tell you that, like, you weren't the problem, pile one. You never have been the problem. Okay, you're still a kind and gentle soul after all of that happened. That is an amazing feat in and of itself. And with this, it's showing that you've learned how to accept that part of your life and integrate it into who you are now. And that could also be why you are so hyper focused now on taking care of yourself, because you know what it is to be left out in the cold. You know what it is to be left in a situation where no one is standing up for you, no matter how scared you were. Right? And that's why I say, when there's a lot of emotional or immature people in your life, a lot of people are trying to put things on you, because it's like, oh, well, if I don't want to carry them, then I'll put them on pile number one. And what is happening now is that you're basically giving them back their packages, right? Like, return to sender. And they're not liking that, but at the same time, it's creating much more peace in your life. And this makes you vastly different from others, because well, if people knew about your past, if people knew about the hardships that you went through, they would be the victim. And they would always look for everybody's empathy, and they would always look for everyone else to fill them back up. And maybe there was a time in your life where you did do that, but you don't do that anymore. You work on filling up yourself. You're working on balancing out yourself. The only person that has made you feel better about anything has been yourself. And that's why you are so different from other people. And this is one of those things that it has taken a lot of drive and courage. You see all fire in this spread. We have Aries, Leo, Sag, Leo. This is all fire in this spread. This is a burning away of an old self. You literally walked through the flames to become another person. Most people wouldn't even stick their finger in that, because they'd see it's hot and they're like, I'm not going to deal with that. But the only way for you to transmute that energy was to walk through the flames and to be and sit with the discomfort. And when you walked out the other side, you became an entirely different person. And there are some that this has left a scar upon your soul that you may believe is unhealable. But the work that you're doing now, pile one, is creating a way. It's like a balm for the soul. You're healing your own soul. And so what you at one point imagined you would never heal from, you're actually becoming empowered from. Not necessarily by. It's your work that's empowering you, but it's from that situation that drove you to get so involved in the work that you're doing today. So you could have been drawn to helping others, doing some type of therapy work, some type of healing, nursing, doctor, working in clinics, working with children, working with social services is coming through. So there's a lot of energy in the healthcare industry that's coming through, but you don't even have to be in that. It could just be that you're a father who works 9 to 5 every day and makes sure that you are a stable individual in your children's home. You could be a mother that works really hard for your children so that they can have what you never had, but that you're also a supportive, protective presence in their lives, right? So it could be anything like that. It doesn't necessarily have to be the healthcare. I'm also getting like someone here is a security at a high school. So that's a really specific message. I do not expect that to resonate with except one person. One person here. So, and this is a really deep message for it to come out on this reading. And so I know I've gotten questions like, why does it go in that direction? Look, I'm an energy reading. At the end of the day, source is going to take the reading wherever source wants it to go. And I have to follow that energy. So even if you want a specific question answered, source may have another message that needs to come through at this time for you. Wow, we have Cancer energy coming in here. Exactly. The two things, nurture and protection, are really standing out here for me, but we do have nurture, comfort, and protection. This is you. You're standing in this Cancerian energy where now it's about protecting yourself, right? Cancers have the hard outer shell. They're represented by the crab, but they have a soft underbelly. But for you, the shell is your protection, and you don't show your soft underbelly to just anybody. It has to be someone who shows that they can be loyal to you 100%. You don't just give away yourself to anybody, and that's what makes you different. You're not looking for someone to validate you. You're looking for someone to compliment you. And that is a very powerful place to come from. Yeah, very receptive energy. You run by your intuition. That's why I'm saying, like, compassion is what drives you, right? That compassion and that intuitive notion is what drives you. And so we have intuition, trust, patience, spirituality, and receptivity. So you may have been withdrawn quite a bit for a long time, and now you're trying to put yourself back out there, and you're realizing that the more you stand in your own power, the easier it is to discern who's for you and who isn't for you, and not feel like a great loss when people don't show up for you either, right? Okay, so we have Gambler that flipped over here. Willingness to follow intuition even when others doubt you. Wow. And the Shadow is relying on luck rather than hard work. So that's just it. Like, you are learning how to listen to your intuition. If your intuition says come back to self, you come back to self. If your intuition says go out and be about, you're out and about. You are not in a place any longer where you're questioning your intuitive energy. And the other thing is too, is that Cancers are ruled by the Ajna, which is the third eye chakra. Okay, so they rule the breast area as well. So being run by our heart, even though Cancer isn't necessarily connected to the heart chakra, that would be Taurus and Libra that are connected to the heart chakra, but Cancer is connected to the Ajna third eye chakra. So again, once your heart is open, your intuition rings in clear like a bell. So we have the Seeker. Thirst for wisdom and truth wherever they are, and the Shadow is inability to commit to a path once found. That's the thing, you're always seeking yourself. That's what this feels like. You're seeking the truth about yourself. It's like, if there's no good, valid reason as to what happened to me when I was growing up, then let me find out who am I at the core of my being. And that's exactly what you're doing. So we have Trickster, and I feel like this is the type of energies that you've dealt with before. A lot of tricksters, a lot of people who are trying to gain something from you. So we have the Light is transcending convention, stiffness, and predictable behavior. Exactly. You're a lot different, right? You've changed yourself. And the Shadow is manipulating others through duplicity. And you've had to deal with duplicitous people in your life, and that's not fair. It's unfortunate that that is life, but it's not fair, and you never did deserve that, right? People are going to be who they are, regardless of who we are. So if we can't change people, the only one that we can change is ourselves, and you've absolutely stepped into that powerful place. We have Walrus. Wow. Okay, so I wish I could... All right, I said this at the very beginning. Before I read the Walrus card, I have to tell you what just happened, because this incense that I was burning today just finished all the way, and it was a split. You could go back. I recorded it. It had a split thing on it, but I have a hanging... it's a hanging holder. And when it finished burning, this literally shot out and landed right next to my arm. And I've never had that happen before. And that was, I wish I could have recorded that to catch it, but it just happened so instantly. So I was thinking at the beginning when I recorded that I was thinking about split personality. And I feel like maybe some of you deal with bipolar, or you could have borderline personality disorder, which, you know, is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I feel like it was definitely worse when you were younger, before you had modalities and you had opportunities to heal and refocus on yourself. Or what this is saying is that you've dealt with people who have had split personality disorder, and that has been something that has really made you question your worth and your value, right? Like, because you're dealing with someone who has an instability. And again, there's nothing wrong with a mental disorder. We're trying to bring more awareness into our mental health and well-being now than we ever have. And I think that it's amazing to see how many people are talking about this. But there's a stigma in the mental health industry that, like, oh my gosh, if you're diagnosed with something, you are less than, there's something wrong with you. But that's not true at all. It just means that you've had so much stress and trauma and hardships in your life that this is how your emotional ego has chosen to deal with it, right? And we have to figure out ourselves in order to find a way to face that part of ourselves. And you know, it's different for everybody, but Gaber Mate, I don't know if you know who he is, but he's someone worth checking out. Gaber Mate. He's an amazing psychologist that talks about childhood trauma and dealing with the different ways of our coping mechanisms that come up from that trauma. So definitely someone to check out. I don't know why this is all blurry, so my apologies. Okay, so back to it. We have Walrus here. Remain vigilant about the current situation. Pay attention to signs and omens and let them dictate your choices. This is what you're doing now. This is what makes you different from other people. You're remaining vigilant in all circumstances. You're not letting others or the situation dictate how you show up anymore, which is funny. I didn't even know what that said. I wasn't even looking at the card when I was talking about, right, with the diagnosis. And it's like, before, when something would trigger you, you might allow that trigger to have dictated how you showed up. And instead, now you have the trigger and you're like, hold on, let me take a step back really quick and let me just see, is this something that I really need to react to, or is there a better response? So you've learned how to look at yourself, and that's what honestly, it leaves people shocked and speechless because you've changed so much. Yeah, we have Taurus, slow but steady. Slow but steady. You are in this place of taking it one day at a time. There's no need to rush. There never has been a need to rush. But that's something that you're learning. Alright, so what is up with my camera right now? It is having the time of its life for sure. Okay, so we've got on the bottom, yeah, sadness. I'm not surprised this came out at all. You have been through a lot, pile number one, and I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry you've had to go through that. It's unfortunate, but can I also say that you need to be applauded for the fact that you are still the person you are. That's what's so amazing and brilliant and wonderful, is that you're still this kind person. You didn't let it turn you into a monster, which all the things that you've been through could have very easily done. And that just goes to show how strong you truly are. Emu. This is a good time to go on a new adventure. So getting back in touch with your inner child, allowing yourself to have fun. I feel like these are things you're exploring now that you weren't able to explore earlier. And that is what makes you different from other people. Oh, you got two of these. Okay. Juno, find your true love. So you could be on a path to opening up true love as well. But I also feel like this is finding your passion in life, like finding something that you truly love, that you will always have time and energy and effort towards. Pluto, go all in. Yeah, transformation is apparent for sure. Didn't your dice have Pluto on it at the beginning? That was one of the things you could choose from. I am not 100% sure, but I do believe that it did. So, talking about transforming and transforming a lot of heavy energy, right? Anger. Yeah, again, I'm not surprised that this came out either. I feel like you've had to deal with a lot of bottled up anger, or you could be someone, with all this fire, that could be something that is something that has been very close to your whole life, has been anger, outbursts of just rage. And I'm even like hearing manic depression and stuff like that that's coming through here, and realizing that that is all a way for you to recreate your life. It's okay to feel anger. You don't have to bottle it up. And I feel like anger is something that we need to give more space to in our lives, because everybody's so quick to say, like, there was something I posted on my community tab, and I don't know, it was a while ago, but it wasn't that long ago at the time of this being posted, but talked about, I'm really sick and tired of people telling us that the minute we lose our temper and we get angry, that we're suddenly a toxic person. Why am I reduced to my bad moments in life? And that's something that's very true. Like, why are we reduced to the one time that we're actually being human and we have a human experience? All of us experience anger. That doesn't make us toxic people. Now, of course, there are people who are toxic, and there are people who use their anger as a way to continue to be toxic. But just in general, like, every person feels anger. Every person has said things they didn't mean in a fit of rage or anger or hurt, right? And so it's like, you're not a terrible person for having to experience anger. And I feel like people who have known you have seen you go from being a very angry individual to someone who's more open, more compassionate, and more in touch with yourself, because you've learned how to integrate these pieces of your past into your life, but also these parts of your emotion, you're integrating them into the here and the now. Emptied. The ending and the beginning lie at either side of the same door. Wow, this is a really telling message, right? It's like you found the doorway to where one ending was so that you could step into a new beginning. And they lie at either side of the same door, right? Like, this path that was so difficult led me to this journey of self-discovery. That's what makes you so different from other people. Emptiness can feel like the end of a no-through road. We do not see the feeling of despair for the chrysalis that it is. Upon emerging from the dark night of the soul is a gateway inviting us into a new way of being in the world. It is not uncommon for life to confront us with situations that seem to extinguish our light for some time. However, it is rare for individuals to disclose the degree of despair experienced during this period. Wow. Exhaustion and depleted resources from the end of a career choice, relationship, or phase can leave us believing our efforts, aspirations, and opportunities to make something of ourselves were in vain. That our best was not enough to make our lives work in the way that we had hoped. Unwanted events can cause such inner upheaval that our will to continue trying weakens significantly. The power for any period of hopelessness or withdrawal to bring us to our edges is not to be underestimated. No one goes through life untouched. Regardless of what hand we are dealt or the path that we walk, life is capable of emptying every one of us of everything that we have to give and all that we believe that we are. When this happens, to whatever degree, we are left feeling defeated, fragile, and blind as to what to do next. At any degree of emptiness you experience is a blessing. Like a womb, it has the power to birth new life. While our circumstances may seem to be in ruins and empty, trust that a process of renewal and fulfillment is happening within all that we cannot see. Just as the seeds of spring are present and growing in unseen ways, throughout winter, the emptiness is a door that eventually opens into a new perspective. On the door to everything ending is a handle that opens into a new beginning. Trust that all that came before and reached its conclusion had a necessary place and value, regardless of whether we recognize it or not. We cannot anticipate, understand, or appreciate how or why things fit together and unfold the way they do. Our spirit selves operate from a foreign perspective and logic that typically evades us. To surrender to the abrupt twists, turns, and losses that temporarily empty us along our life's path is often the only way to genuine fulfillment of what it seems like life is forcing us to let go of. The Mother assures you that you are everything you need to grow forward. Trust the universe is always meeting you halfway with lessons required to advance you at your highest level. Your darkest moments are also your brightest blessings if you allow them to be radiant beginnings that they are here to open you up to. It is time to thoroughly let go of something you are still clinging to at your detriment, emptying yourself of it in all ways. On some level, something has come to an irreversible end and you need to accept it as such. Release the residue to allow the necessary clearing of space for the new beginning. The message is surrender to your spirit self. Allow yourself to be emptied of all that is over, false, and untrue. Let the light that you are fill, refuel, expand beyond, and radiate the emptiness so that it may be seen for the gateway that it is. What a beautiful way to sum up this reading, because I feel like that's exactly what makes you so different, is that you've learned how to do that. And of course, no one is perfect at it, right? But you have gone through the gateway time and time again, and through that, you've learned how to embrace this seeker energy and to trust your intuition without fail. And that's what makes you so different from others. So this is what I see here for you today, pile number one. What a truly amazing reading, and I'm truly honored to be able to connect with you in this way. If you felt like this was for you, leave the little egg emoji down below and say, I have stepped into a state of nurturing and compassion for myself so that when I emerge, I am whole and complete exactly as I am. And if it resonated, it would mean so much if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. And if you'd like to support the channel further, you'll find everything that you need to do so in the description box. With that, I would like to take this moment to thank your guides, your spirit messengers, your angel source, and my spirit guides for coming together to give us this truly deep and powerful, profound message. And until next time, pile number one, stay human. Bye. Hello, my fellow human. If you were drawn to this dice with Mars on it, or if you felt called to this piece of amethyst, or if you were drawn to this card during the shuffle, then this is going to be a reading on what makes you different from other people. I would like to say thank you to anyone who continues to be a supportive part of this journey with me. And if you're new here, welcome. We are all here sharing this human experience together. This is a safe space to show up as your highest, most aligned, loving, authentic selves. And we do things differently here on this channel. So with that in mind, if the message happens to resonate, it would mean the world to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. Quickly, I would like to mention that there do happen to be triggers that come up on my reading. So if that is the case, there's no need to force it to fit. And also, as a key reminder here, that anytime a trigger does arrive, it is a beautiful reminder for us to dig deeper into our healing journey. So with that, let's go ahead and find out what makes you different from other people, pile number two. Source, what would you like to share with us today? What makes you different from other people, pile number two? What makes you different from other people, pile number two? All right, so we've got the 10th house, we've got Saturn, and we've got Cancer energy coming through here today. So you could have North Node in Cancer, Capricorn, 10th house in Cancer, or prominent Saturn placements. I'm also getting Saturn retrograde in somebody's chart here. Yeah, that's coming through. Okay. Cancer moon. Cancer and Jupiter is coming through as well. Okay, so what makes you different? You are a very determined worker. You get a lot of accolades in your life for what seems on the outside not to be very much effort. But the truth is that you put in a lot of effort. You take pride in your work, right? There's this saying that's coming through here. It's like, if you can't sign your name at the end of the day, it feels like you didn't do a good enough job. But I feel like you've just lived in that type of energy for so long that, like, you know the type of work that you're going to sign your name off on the end of the day. And you know that's okay. And for other people, I feel like it seems like it's just comes super simple to you. Like, there's nothing that you can't do. There's nothing that you can't say. There's nothing that you can't be. Everything just seems to come to you. It's almost like it's always giving you nurturing and love, and there's just like people who show up and they do their best to make sure that you're comfortable in life. But I don't feel like that came easily, personally. Like, that is not something that I feel at all, especially with Saturn here. It's this energy of there's been a lot of tough love for you to embrace this fluid flow in your life where you're trusting the process of the journey and trusting that the work you put through is enough. You could have definitely had periods of time where imposter syndrome had taken over, or where you're a very acute perfectionist, where it's like, I can't turn in my work unless it's absolutely 100% perfect. And I do feel like these are things that you've had to overcome on the journey. You may have also had a lot of codependent relationships in your life, which has led you to becoming more independent. You may have an avoidant attachment style, or that's something that you're working on as well. But I do feel like what makes you different from other people is the fact that, in spite of all those difficult times in your life, you found something that works for you and you keep showing up, and you make it look flawless to everybody looking in. No one sees the work that you've done, and no one sees the hardships that you've experienced in trying to manifest or trying to realize this dream that you have. And yet, no matter what happens, you still stand there proud, saying, this is my dream to realize, and I'm going to do whatever it takes. And you keep moving. You never put it down. You keep moving towards it. And if there are people in your life who do see that, they're absolutely flabbergasted by you, because they would have long given up. And yet here you are, still making it work, still doing your best to show up, even if it's not where you thought you'd be, or how much you thought you'd be earning, or all those things that everybody equates to what success should or shouldn't be. You feel really grounded in yourself, and there's this sense of really leaning into taking care of that feeling for you. It's a self-validation here. That's what this feels like. And that makes you different from others, because you're validating your own existence. You're validating yourself. You're validating what you've been through. And you're recognizing that even though there's been a lot of hard times, that doesn't mean that I have to make it harder on myself. You, definitely could have a lot of Cancerian placement in your chart. You could have a water trine. You could have a 4th house stellium. Let's see. Yeah. I feel like you've had a lot of situations that have humbled you in life as well. Like, you may have had to let go of a lot of... Okay, this is going to sound bad, but it's not meant in a bad way, because there's, for lack of a better word, but there's like almost like a pretentious or arrogant belief systems that were never yours to hold to begin with. So that could be like, when they say that, it's like feeling like, oh, I'm only better than someone when I have more money than them, right? That could have been something that you were raised to believe, or you were raised to believe that only people who get a degree can ever be successful, or you were raised to believe that, you know, my whole family is doctors, so I had to be a doctor or a lawyer or something like that. It's a belief system that was never yours to begin with, and it's still always graded against you wrong. And I feel like you had to overcome that. And that had its own trials and that had its own hardships that you had to overcome. But in overcoming that, it allowed you to let go and surrender to the journey that was opening up to you. What makes you different from others, pile number 2? Yeah, you've had a lot of hopelessness in your life. A lot of people who are on your shoulder telling you what to do. People that were trying to be the guide in your life. For a long time, there felt like there was no way out. But you made a way out for yourself. And that's what makes it different. Like, even though there were... Whoa. Okay, yeah. So Saturn energy coming back out here. Even though there were all these hardships, and even though there were people who were trying to force you down their path, right? And this could have been people who were really close to you, like family, friends, people you love. It could have been just people who felt like they had a say in everybody's life. You know, you get teachers, bosses, things like that are like, oh, I'm obviously in such a high position that I have the right to tell everybody how to live their lives. And I feel like you respected some of these people and what they had to say, but also realized that it was very trying on you and your experience, and you made a way for yourself. And a lot of that came from the internal dialogue that you were talking to yourself in, you know, like, oh, I can't do this. Like, you know, again, those old beliefs, like starving artist type beliefs, or say you come from a family of doctors and you wanted to be, I don't know, a musician, right? And they're sitting there saying, like, you never make any money doing that. And you're over there saying that's not true. And it's like these varying opinions that you have when it comes to work and what you want to do with your life. I feel like you realized if you didn't nurture your dream and your ideas, then the people around you would have dictated what it is that you did with your life. And that may have been the case at some point, but you drew a line in the sand. And because you drew that line in the sand and put a very strong boundary up for others, it left you with actually facing the voices that were inside the way you were treating yourself. But it also gave you courage to take action for yourself. Yeah, oh, there's somebody here who's a smooth talker in your life. Could have been a Gemini, it could have been an Aries, it could have been an Aquarius. This is somebody who felt like they had a right. It's almost like they wanted to live vicariously through you. So, oh, well, I couldn't become whatever it is that I'm telling pile number 2 to become. And so I want pile number 2 to become that so that I can live vicariously through them. And not giving a hoot about what your dream was. And in fact, every time you mentioned your dream, all they would do is, you know, have something nasty to say about it. This could have also been a lover, but yeah, Gemini energy for sure. Gemini energy. Someone who didn't want you to make a choice, who wanted you to stay in your head. Look at all this air energy. Air, 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 air. So you have Uranus. You have Mercury energy here. Gemini. Communications were very difficult between you and this person. It feels like one person. It could have been multiple people. But this really feels like one really manipulative energy to me. And so it could have been the same energy that played out in all your life. But what makes you different is that you're very aware of people who are like this now. These are the sweet talkers who pull the wool over people's eyes, and you're incredibly discerning of these people. And you are able to set up firm boundaries. As soon as someone like this comes into your life, you're like, oh, nope, I know exactly who you are. I see right through all your little manipulations. I see right through all your tricks and games. And no, we're just not going to go down that road. And I feel like there's a lot of people who felt completely stunted is the word that's coming in. They felt stunted because of that. And they didn't get what they were coming for. And they can't. You're at this point, you're untouchable because you know you have to nurture your dream. But it feels like because you dealt with someone, it's almost like when you deal with a monster your whole life and you finally face the monster that you've dealt with your whole life, all the other little minions of monsters are nothing compared to the one monster that you faced in your life. Whether that's an internal monster or an external monster, that's just the truth, right? It's like once you face that part of yourself and you stand up to the one that was the scariest of all, standing up to others is no big deal. And that's what makes you different from other people. You're willing to stand up. You're not letting people determine what your life is. Because you've already had it so hard. You've already been through so many difficult situations. So why am I going to keep putting myself through difficult situations in order to get praise or validation, or to have people say like, yeah, pile 2, like, you know, that they're there because of me or whatever it is. When at the end of the day, even if you went down that road, they wouldn't care. Like, they would try to make it seem like as if they were the ones that did all the work, but at the end of the day, nothing you did would ever be good enough for them anyways. This is also giving me the feeling this is someone who's given you silent treatment, and that's something that you despise. It's something you just, like, I get it in my stomach. I feel like this is like, if anybody gives you the silent treatment, just feel it in the pit of my stomach. Like, okay, so you're going to be so childish that you can't tell me or communicate to me what's going on. So if you won't, then I'm going to communicate to you how things are going to happen from here on out. And I feel like you've cut a lot of people off because of that. And that's what makes you different from other people. It's not cruel. You're not a cruel person. You're just very clear about who you are and where you're going. And I'm not going to play these games that people play today. You know, there's people out there who are just trying to play the manipulation game to see how far they can get. And you're just not about that. Like, look, you show up correct, or you can step off. And you've had a lot of people that you've actually pushed off because you're not, look, you showed up all crooked and you're in my way. So I'm going to take the long way around. I'm not going to deal with you, whatever. We're not going to go down this path together. Basically denying access. Access denied. And I feel like there's a lot of people that are watching you become successful, or watching you do the thing that you're doing and seeing it, again, as flawless, right? Like, you make it look flawless. You make it look easy. And there might be a lot of people who have tried to talk back to you or say things like, oh, you can't do that, or you shouldn't do that, who have tried to do what you're doing, and they can't. Like, they're recognizing that, wow, this is not something that just comes easy. But you've put so much time, energy, and effort, and you trust yourself that you make it look easy. So there's a lot of people here who think that you're still in disarray, and you're not. You're not. You're looking at opportunities, and you're letting opportunities lead you. I want to get a clarifier card for you. I didn't do this for pile number 1, but I do want to get a clarifier card for you because I feel like we need to. Let's see. Intensity. The Knight of Wands. You were very quickly moving away from situations like this. That's why I say, like, you cut people off real quick. And people may take that the wrong way, but it's not. It's not intended to be cruel. It's not intended to be unkind. It's just this is the way it is. Like, I'm not here to play these stupid games anymore. And if you want to play a game, that's cool, but I'm not going to be a player, right? Because I'm playing my own game, and my own game is taking myself as far as I can go. And you are quickly moving that line. There's a lot of passion, and it's like a feverish passion is leading you there. If people understand what you're doing, great. If people don't understand what you're doing, great. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Yeah, on the bottom of the deck, we have the Hangman energy with new vision. You see things clearly now. You're comfortable in your own skin. You're not worried about what everyone else thinks of you, where at one time you could have had a lot of people-pleasing tendencies, and now you don't. And that could have been what was one of the biggest struggles for you, was letting that go. Letting go of what other people thought of you. because it could have really weighed on you for quite a long time. Yeah, listening to your intuition with inner voice. Pisces energy coming in here. So trusting, I don't know if you can hear my dog. She's snoring in the background. She's so loud. But trusting your intuition right now. Knowing that you have to listen to yourself. And that's the only way you're going to feel comfortable with yourself. And so there are a lot of people who take you, the way that you show up is very intense. And it leaves them feeling uncertain. But again, it's not you trying to be cruel or malicious or duplicitous to them. You're doing it for the benefit of yourself. And, you know, that's not a bad thing. Capricorn energy coming in here. So we have all Capricorn energy, 10th house Capricorn and Saturn. You could have Capricorn placements highly aspect in your chart. You could have the big three. This doesn't happen very often, but you could be someone that has a big three, Capricorn, Sun, Moon, Rising. It has been known to happen, but it's not something that happens very often. But you could definitely have the big three in Capricorn. We have ambition, realism, and methodical steps. This is healing the father wound. This is like overcoming the father wound that you were criticized or ridiculed for the efforts that you put in. Nothing was good enough. There was never any constructive criticism that was given to you. It's just flat out criticism and cruel criticism that was given to you, and you learned how to use that to your benefit and fuel your journey into being ambitious for yourself. And also there's a surrender here of letting go of needing to have success as an outcome in order to feel enough. You're now stepping into a very empowered state where you feel enough as you are. And if you don't feel that right now, it is on its way. It's something that is happening for you. All right, what else? Shapeshifter. Yeah, you've completely changed who you are. Light attributes are skilled at navigating through different levels of consciousness, ability to see the potential in everything. What did I say? You're seeking opportunity now. Like, you don't care how people show up because all you see are opportunities, doorways that are opening. The shadow is projecting an image that serves your personal agenda in the moment. So I do feel like that's what you've been dealing with your whole life, is people who have a personal agenda that they're trying to attend to, and they're trying to use you to gratify that agenda. Child nature. We have friendships with animals, communication with nature spirits. So you could be a hermit, or that's just, you know, where you find your happy place is being alone in nature and with your animals. And that's what helps fill you back up and give you the necessary energy you need in order to keep moving forward. The shadow's tendency to abuse animals, people, and the environment. Yeah, so you could have also been around people who were unkind to nature or plants or animals, and that's something that did not sit right with you, and that's why you have a hard time connecting with people, is what's coming through for me. We have Pueo with the Hawaiian owl. Your ancestral spirit guides are offering your guidance now, so pay close attention to signs and omens from them. Oh, she's dreaming. I hope the camera's catching that. It's so cute. She's barking in her sleep, and that's so funny that we're getting this with the animals, the child nature. And with the Pueo coming through here, it's like your ancestors speak to you through your animals or through animals. So maybe they send you birds, or there's a particular bird that comes. And if you didn't catch the intro, it talked about, there was, right before I started this reading, there was 3 crows that were sitting outside my window. And there's been a lot of birds recently in my life, and it was just really telling that there were 3 crows out here, because I haven't seen crows the whole time that I've been here, and all of a sudden in the last 2 days there's been so many crows all over, and they're messengers from the spirit world. And so I feel like that's another confirmation here. Like, you get messages. Maybe you see a lot of owls, or you see a lot of birds, or you see a lot of crows. I feel like you see the specific birds that are messengers from the other world. Or like maybe like you see a mourning dove, which is a sign from someone that's passed on, or, you know, something along those lines. Humpback whale. Music is essential to your healing and well-being, whether singing, playing an instrument, or listening. Isn't that funny? Didn't I say, like, maybe you come from a family of doctors and you want to be a musician, and we have the humpback whale coming out here. So it doesn't have to be exactly that, but I feel like humpback whale is coming in to just show, like, it doesn't matter how unique your journey is. There's a reason it's yours. But also that music is going to help you maintain your grounding and your centeredness as you continue through your journey. What else, source, for pile number 2? Thank you. Okay, that one wants to come out too. So put that there. On the bottom, we have air energy. Take a bird's eye view. Oh my goodness. What is happening right now? What a synchronicity. Look at the bird here. Take a bird's eye view. And we were just talking about birds. What? Okay, so again, this could be that you were dealing, this could have been a Gemini you were dealing with. You could be a Gemini as well. You could be an air sign, Aries. I'm sorry, that would be Aquarius, Gemini, or Libra. So you could be an air sign, but that is so telling. Again, source coming in, take a bird's eye view. There's something about birds that is so synchronistic for you at this time. So maybe you own a bird, and that's something that makes you different from other people, right? I know, like, it seems like a lot of people own birds, but not as many as you'd think. And birds are very unique, and they're incredibly smart. You know, like, crows are very intelligent. They know how, like, if you give them tools, they'll use tools. And if you give them puzzles, they're so clever. They'll figure out puzzles. They can mimic a person perfectly, tone and pitch wise. Like, they're incredibly intelligent animals, right? And so I also feel like that's telling, because that's showing that you're an incredibly intelligent person. I feel like not only are you intelligent in the mind, but you're intelligent with emotional wisdom as well. And so you know when and when not to do certain things. Consciousness. Yeah, you're very aware. You are very self-aware. What a synchronistic reading. 6th house. Establishing a foundation, health, daily life, and practical details. Virgo energy here as well. Yeah, you have learned how to focus on your routine. The methodical steps are what matter to you. So it's like, even if you're not getting paid for progression, you're still working, right? You might want to check out like an astronaut in the ocean. I can't remember who sings that song. I feel like an astronaut in the ocean. It's such a good song, but he says that even if I don't get paid for progression, I'm a work. I don't remember all the lyrics, but that's it. So you might want to check out that song. It's Astronaut in the Ocean. If you guys know who sings that and you would like to put that down below to help other pile twos, that would mean the world to me. I truly appreciate those of you that do that. But that's something here. It's like an astronaut in the ocean is an astronaut out of their element. Right? So it's like you come from a family of astronauts who are so used to exploring space, and you're the one that wants to explore the ocean. Look at this. I cannot make this up. Underneath that, we have dog, and then we have seagull. Oh my gosh. So yeah, look, your loyalty and faithfulness is misplaced by serving too many masters. Now is the time for deep emotional healing. Like, this is just really synchronistic. There's so much here. But I feel like that's the thing, like, you're the one that wants to take all the wisdom and knowledge that you've learned and apply it to something else. 7th house, make a commitment. And you're very committed to what you do. Like, I feel like work is your mistress, your lover, your best friend. And most of the time, like, that's not something that as a spiritual leader I would ever encourage, right? Like, just I wouldn't, but I feel like it's just something that really fills you up. And so at this point in time in your journey, if that's where you're at, own it, own it. And so, but if you're a workaholic, that's a different, right? If you're trying to run away from everything, that's different. But I don't get that feeling with you, pile two. I feel like this is something that's like, it's time for me to pour into this. And so you're doing just that. Pisces, look at this. Tune into your intuition. So Pisces energy, you're trusting your intuition. We got that energy on the bottom of the deck. You could be Pisces as well, or a Pisces highly aspect in your chart, or a 12th house stellium is coming through. Energy. So what makes you different from other people is the energy that you exude. I feel like people are very drawn to you. They're very drawn to you. And I feel like it's also like a moth to the flame. Like, there's a lot of manipulative people that are drawn to you because they want to manipulate you. They want to know what it would be like to twist you around their finger. But I also feel like on the other side that people who are just wanting to heal are drawn to you. And so naturally you attract a lot of different types of people into your life. And I feel like that's why you've gotten so good at discerning people. And that's why it's so vital for you to trust your intuition. So let's see what this card says. I'm going to read this from the book. Distorted perceptions. Reality is rarely what we are raised to believe it is. That's what I was saying at the beginning. You have a lot of beliefs that weren't yours, that you're letting go of, right? That's what I was saying, like it was pretentious or arrogant. It's not that you're pretentious or arrogant. These are beliefs that were pretentious or arrogant that you were holding on to, or that were forced down your throat for a long time, and you're having to let them go. And it's very uncomfortable, but necessary. That also makes sense as to why this reading's kind of been up and down for me, because it is distorted. It's like looking at it through a prism or a looking glass. It's clear, but it's not like crystal clear, right? And so it's just a process that you're going through. It says how we experience the world changes throughout life. Such shifts in perception typically occur when an event, a person, a place, or a new life stage leaves us questioning something integral to what had been our understanding of the world or ourselves. Consequently, our perception and thinking shifts irreversibly and changes how we experience our reality. The maiden's expression is calm and accepting as she observes the world without the distorted lens of the feathered tent. The tent represents the outdated cultural, ancestral, and social conditioning she is awakening from. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah, thank you, Source. She stands firm and in solemn awe of the wisdom revealed in her newfound world. All that she has been raised to believe about the world and herself no longer applies. She sees beyond how limited and false certain aspects of her perception and understanding had been. With this new perspective and clarity, it is now possible for her to grow beyond, rather than to blindly repeat the intergenerational patterns, fears, and false beliefs that would otherwise have a deterring effect on the life she would go on to live. A sophisticated shift in consciousness will soon be made available to you. Initially, seeing things differently may feel alienating or even like a betrayal or a great loss. It may present initial challenges in what you do with or about this new perspective, especially if you've envisioned your life is dramatically altered as a result. The maiden assures you that any confusion, grief, or upheaval from releasing distorted perceptions or limiting beliefs will eventually open into amazing opportunities, remarkable growth, and an increase in self-sovereignty. The maiden's message is power, beauty, and liberation happen when we do not close our eyes or retreat back into the mentality we have outgrown. Yeah, so you're moving away from that distorted perception, and that's what makes you different from other people. You're no longer accepting the illusions that people have tried to sell to you as reality. You're seeing through the lens of truth, but it is still new. It feels new, and that's what this reading has felt this whole time. Like, it feels new, but your ancestors are absolutely helping you. So it wouldn't surprise me if many of you have talked to your ancestors or prayed to your ancestors for assistance. Like, you may come from a culture that's very ancestral driven, which is amazing. I wish more cultures were like that, but it just shows you they are present. They've made themselves very well known in your reading today as well. Not only through your card here, but with Pueo coming out as well. So this is what I see here for you, pile number 2. If you felt like this was your reading, I'll let you pick the bird of your choice emoji down below. Leave your favorite bird down below. And say, I choose to rise high above the distorted perceptions and realities that were fed to me as a child, and look and see with eyes of truth. And if it resonated, it would mean so much to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. And if you are interested in supporting the channel further, you'll find everything you need in the description box. With that, I would like to take this moment to thank your guides, your spirit messengers, your angel source, my spirit guides, and a special shout out to the ancestors that came through in this reading today. And until next time, pile number 2, stay human. Bye. Hello, my fellow human. If you were drawn to this dice with the North Node on it, if you were drawn to this rhodonite obelisk, or if you happen to be called to this card during the shuffle, this is going to be a reading on what makes you different from other people. First, I'd like to say thank you to anyone and everyone that continues to be a supportive part of the journey with me, and those of you that are new, welcome. We are all here sharing this human experience together. This is a safe space to show up as your highest, most aligned, loving, authentic self. And we do things completely differently here on this channel, so with that in mind, if the message does happen to resonate, it would mean so much to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. Also, just a heads up that there may or may not be some triggering information in these readings. That's just how my readings come out sometimes. And with that being said, there's no need to force it to fit. However, a reminder that if there is a trigger that does arise, that is a prime opportunity for us to dig deeper into our healing journey. So let's go ahead and find out what makes you different from other people. Pile number 3. Source, what would you like to share with us today? What makes you different from other people? Pile number 3. Source, what would you like to come through? Wait, so we see Gemini energy coming in. We've got the 7th house, and we've also got Venus. You are someone that people see as marriage material. So you're not someone that, like, when people find you attractive, it's not just like, ooh, I want to hit it and quit it, pile number 3. Like, they're like, no, I want pile number 3 as my forever person. That makes you different than other people. You might ask how. It's because you take it serious. You take yourself very seriously. It's the way you present yourself. You're very elegant. You're very graceful. You are very sharp and witty with your communication. And you take pride in valuing yourself and seeing your self-worth. I also feel like what makes you different too is that people want to work with you. They want to partner with you. They want to be a part of the empire, the enterprise, or the business that you may or may not be constructing. I feel like they just want to be able to connect with you and have access to you. And that makes you different because you're someone that's easy to work with, but also someone who is very bold with your ideas. And you're very adaptable. So it's like, even if you have an idea that's not going to work, you're not against listening to others' ideas and opinions and letting them offer that. You are very abundant in nature. Just abundant, a very abundant person of energy, very abundant person of compassion and kindness and wisdom and knowledge and information. And you don't keep it to yourself either. You share what you learn. And people benefit from that as well. And there's just this energy that's around you right now where you're very magnetic. People really like being around you. And that makes you different from others. Like, I feel like so many people, they get so tired of other people so quickly. And with you, it's not like that. Most people, when they're around you, they stay interested because you're very intriguing and you may have a lot of stories and you're not boring. And you may be like, that doesn't feel right, but it's true. It's not necessarily what you've experienced. It's just your energy as a whole. You give off this beautiful light that people want to be bathed in. And that makes you different from other people. It's like 1 in a million. You're that 1 in a million. Yeah, people definitely love you. There's a lot of romantic interest here. And for some of you, that might be frustrating because you're like, well, why aren't they coming forward? Also, keeping in mind that when you have that bright of a light, sometimes it can be intimidating to others. You know, like they feel like you already have a lot of suitors. So who am I, like, to be able to come through and try to get pile number 3? I feel like the right person will come through for you if that's what you're looking for. Yeah, you're very emotionally intelligent. You have a lot of... You could have a lot of material wealth as well. You don't have to, but you seem very wealthy by nature. And you're just very clear about who you are. What makes you different from other people? Pile number 3. What makes you different from other people? Pile number 3. What makes you different from other people? Pile number 3. Yeah, you've definitely had a lot that has upset your life. And you have your secrets. But you're incredibly mysterious. And I just heard someone say, I'm an open book. Ask me anything. It was so loud. I feel like the thing is that even if you are an open book, like there's still things like you're not just going to announce to everybody. And it's those things that actually make you even more mysterious. You know, things from your past or things that you've experienced or, you know, things that just don't come up in general everyday conversation. You're not a person who just likes to hear themselves talk. There's a lot of people out there who will just talk about anything and everything, even if it has nothing to do with what you're going over, right? You'll be talking about how, I don't know, just say you're talking about the sun, and they're like, oh yeah, well, I have this pair of shoes, and they're blue, and they're amazing, and you're like, what? That doesn't even make any sense, you know? It's just because that's how people are nowadays. They're just waiting for any break in a conversation to talk, and you don't. So somebody's talking, you're most likely listening. You have very good listening skills, and you're very present with people, and that makes you different. You know, in a world that's in such a rush to be heard and be seen, you're not in a rush to be heard or seen at all. You're busy seeing and hearing everybody else, which actually makes you more heard and seen than you might realize. Scorpio energy. We've got the nameless card, number 13, what you might know as death. You are a healer, and even if you're not trying to be a healer, your energy is very healing, and you actually unknowingly force people into transform and to letting go of past situations. Yes, even the person talking about their blue shoes, which made no sense. Maybe just by you listening to their story, it gave them an opportunity to be aware of how they were showing up in any one given moment. I really want to be around pile number 3, but if I'm not aware and I'm just spouting off whatever, I'm not going to have that opportunity. And that's something that is healing because it's helping people to be aware of themselves. And awareness is the most healing thing that we can do. There's something that recently happened that knocked you off balance. Made you feel like maybe you went through a really depressive time or a dark night of the soul. But it was very difficult for you, and you're just now starting to regain balance from that, and you haven't really told anybody what it was that you went through. You know, it could have been a loss. You could have lost a relationship. You could have lost a friendship. You could have, you know, been grieving from something from the past. You could have lost a job. You could have been through anything, right? It doesn't have to just be any one thing. It could just be a multitude of things as well. And I feel like you had to draw away from everybody and you had to focus on yourself. And now you seem even more mysterious because you haven't really come back and shared what's going on. Like you may have returned And everybody's like, so we're waiting for the big news. What's the big news? And you're just going about your day like nothing changed. Nothing happened. Yeah, you're incredibly abundant. Like, you might not have monetary abundance just yet, but I do feel like it is something that's promised on your journey. And the thing is that there's this essence of stability around you. Like, even when you might feel like things are very volatile and falling apart, you still hold yourself to very high decorum, and it makes you that much more desirable. This isn't about putting on a good face. This is about it's like taking the hit on the jaw and just brushing yourself off and continuing forward. It's not even about turning the other cheek. It's just realizing that we can't really fight life like that. Sometimes we just have to let it be so that we can, get through and overcome. I do feel like there's someone here who is afraid of losing access to you. Like, they're afraid that they said the wrong thing. They're afraid that they did the wrong thing. Like, and for you, it was just kind of like you showed up this way and we are where we are. No big deal. Like, that's where it's at. Because for you, it's not about pondering it or worrying about it over and over again. It's about just taking it as it comes. And you're not in the business of judging people. Even if you have discernment, it's not about judging people. I feel like you're just aware of where people are. So, okay, this person's showing up like this, and that's not something that I want in my life. So I'm going to move on for myself. Or this person is someone I do want in my life, so I'm going to integrate them into my life. Like, it's not about being cruel. It's not about being unkind. This is literally just about choosing the direction that's best for yourself, which makes you more desirable. I do feel like you're an incredibly beautiful person, right? And many of you may be like, well, I'm not that attractive or anything. I feel like you don't give yourself enough credit for how attractive you truly are. Like, you look at yourself in the mirror every day, so it's something that you're very, very used to. But to others, you look very exotic, very unique, and very alluring. And that's what makes you different from other people, because not only are you beautiful on the outside, you're a very beautiful person on the inside, and it makes you shine even brighter in the world. And people would still be in love with you even if you weren't, outwardly beautiful, because of the heart and soul that you possess. That's just something that makes you shine even more brightly. You could have been born at night. You could be a night owl. So I also feel like that's something else. Like, maybe you come alive at night, and so during the day you're kind of reserved and you're maybe really quiet, don't really talk to anybody. But when nighttime comes around, and it's not about drinks or anything, I just feel like as soon as the sun goes down, you become animated and you're just like really excited about things all of a sudden. It's like you totally turn into a different person. It could be flip-flopped and you could be a daytime person too, but this really does feel like you might come alive at night. And part of that could be because you were born at night, right? Like, you were born when the sun was down. So anytime between sunset and sunrise, and that would just be like, that's the time that you were given life. So that's where your vitality comes from. You could be a Pisces, Scorpio, Leo, or Capricorn. You could have Gemini highly aspect. You could have Mercury in Gemini, Mercury and Venus. Gemini and Venus. We're going to get there, guys. You could have Leo in the 12th house, in the 3rd house coming through, Pisces in Jupiter, in Saturn, in Venus. Okay. Yeah, so that's what's coming through. I feel like you work you do everything that you need to in the daytime, but then you leave all the fun stuff that you want to do at nighttime, because that's when you feel more energetic and ready and willing to pour into the things that you really love to do. So you might kind of skate by during the day, but you're really good at what you do. And so it's okay for you to skate by, because it's more about pouring into yourself. And that's when you really fill up your own cup. I definitely feel like there's a dualistic energy to you, though. Like, what people see in the morning versus what they see later is very different, but it's not different for you because that's just you, right? So it's not like you're putting on a mask or anything. That's not what this is. It's just you really are, you're just, if you're not a morning person, you're not a morning person. So you're going to be really groggy in the morning and like, I don't really want to deal with anybody and this, that, and the other. But then when you're really chipper at night, you're a different person, right? You're just like, it's total 180. Like, what the heck? We saw you this morning and you didn't even want to talk to nobody. And now you just we can't even get you to shut up. You're like, that's just how it is. I don't know how to explain it. That's just how it is, Or it could be that you're really shy when you first meet people, but then once you get to know them, you open up. So there's like this period of there's this period of being timid or withdrawn. And then you're very open and honest, and you give a lot to people. Yeah, let's see what else is coming out. It's interesting. I was really awake and alert through all the piles, and then I got to your pile and I'm a little bit tired. And so I'm not sure what that is. So maybe you're not getting enough rest right now and you need to get some more rest. We've got the 7th house coming out again with profound relationships, intimacy, and romantic partnerships. Yeah, there's people who are very attracted to you. I feel like you are not aware of how many suitors there are. And suitors, honestly, I'm going to be real, pile 3, suitors from both sides, both men, women, non-binary. Like there's a lot of people who see you. People. Okay, there's a lot of people who see you and they're like, oh my Lord, what I wouldn't give to have pile 3 in my life like that. That they see you as marriage material. It's not just a hit it and quit it type of situation. They see you as marriage material, and that makes you different, because it's like, yes, you're beautiful. Yes, you're handsome. Yes, you're good looking. But it's like, it's something that people, I just heard someone, they want to covet me. I just heard that so loud. And I mean, maybe, but I don't think that's what it is. Like, I think they just really want you around because you bring so much value. Mutable energy, Gemini, Virgo, Sag, and Pisces. We have surrender, fluidity, and welcoming change. Yeah, you definitely flow through life and you welcome change all the time. Like I said, it's like you're very adaptable. So you're willing to let others voice their opinions, to share their ideas, and to hear that. Okay, I'm not going to take all these, but we did have Don Juan flip over. So, yeah, we have spotlights your positive, seductive qualities. I can't make this stuff up. The shadow is using the power of romantic attraction for private agendas. I do feel like you've dealt with a lot of this in the past. And so hearing this today might be kind of one of those things where it's like I don't want people to like me like that. But honestly, pile 3, you are such a powerhouse energy. It's impossible for people not to fall for you. And that's not even a stroke to the ego. It's just, that's the type of energy that you give off. Look, with Don Juan, 7th house coming out twice, already confirming what I was feeling from the get-go. Just, you are someone that's very seductive, very attractive, very alluring, and people just can't help themselves. You might also get a lot of creepers, like men and women both are creepers. Okay, so there's not just, but you might get a lot of creepers and you're like, whoa, that person is way too much for me. But I also feel like you're really good at pivoting and choosing yourself in those situations. Visionary. Yeah, you know what you want. The light attributes: capacity to envision what is not yet conceivable to others. Willingness to proclaim a vision without regard for personal gain. The shadow is selling insights to the highest bidder, compromising your vision to make it more acceptable. So I do feel like you've had to feel small at some point in your life in order for you to realize what you want matters. But this also goes back to what I was saying, like at night, that's when you go towards your dreams, is at night. And it's something that keeps calling you time and time again. Whoa, okay, that was quick. Thank you. You okay, Zoe? We have polar bear. Stand up for yourself and speak your truth respectfully and compassionately with no attachment to the outcome. So I do feel like you stand up for yourself as well, and that makes you different from other people, because so many people, they just want to belong and they want to fit in, that they're willing to compromise their values and how they feel. We have malefics. Be aware of challenges. So you've definitely had some hardships in your life. You've definitely dealt with stubborn people. You've dealt with manipulative people. You've dealt with people coming towards you with their own agendas. I do feel like it's been really difficult for you at times. But there's also the power that comes from that and knowing who you are. And that's where you're at. You know exactly who you are and you're not compromising that. Yeah, Leo, confidence is key. Yeah, you're a very confident person. And that's not something that was just like given to you. I feel like you had to earn that confidence. My chair is so loud. Can you guys hear it? Squeaking or creaking, I guess. It's a bench. It's my dinette in the RV. It's just amazing because I usually always have, what is it? Frequencies playing, and I don't right now because I just want the silence. Personally, I just want silence. And so it's just funny like hearing how loud it creaks, and I don't know if the camera picks it up or not. But yeah, that's the dinette that I'm sitting on. So every time I reach for a new deck, it always creaks. So it's like, even when you're trying not to be noticed, you're still noticed. People are like staring at you or watching you from afar. It's like you're just trying to get in and get out of somewhere, and people are like chopping you and talking to you, and you're like, geez, I just came in here to get, you know, a bag of chips, or I came in here to get some eggs, or I came in here to get, you know, something for lunch or whatever. And it's like all these people want to talk to you. It's just because you have this very seductive, attractive energy around you. And you're very sweet. You know, you don't use your looks and you don't use that energy as a means to manipulate or hurt people. You are I feel like you're just a very humble person. That's what I was saying. Like, I feel like many of you were like, no, I'm not that attractive. Like, yeah, not like that. I feel like you're very humble. Like, if people approach you and they're like, wow, you're the most beautiful person I've ever seen, you're probably like, no, that's not true, but thank you. You know, like, like, I just feel like you're very humble. You don't see it the way that other people do. Cheetah. Get clear on your intentions, stay focused, and move quickly to achieve your goal. Yeah, you're very clear about yourself, where you're going, the direction you want. Vesta, fueling your inner fire. Yeah, again, I just feel like that's confirmation that at night you come alive. That's when your fires get ignited. Illumination. Yeah, I'm very aware of yourself. You're very conscious of the journey and yourself and where you're going. But it's like also this energy of just knowing that like you have the power to create whatever you want. And so you go towards that. And so you're very much in that creative fire. And that creative fire, it can bring with it the challenges of people wanting what it is that you're creating. But it also brings with it people who admire what it is that you're creating. Wow, your reading went by so fast. It was it wouldn't surprise me if there's a lot of men on this pile or a lot of divine masculines, because it was a very succinct energy this whole time. It's just been very like this. Very clear. That very clear intention. The other two piles kind of went on a little bit. One of them was kind of all over the place. And so I don't mind when readings come out like this at all. Let's take a look at this card. I'm going to read this one from the book, okay? We have distorted desire. Okay, conscious desire rarely satisfies the unconscious need driving it. So this goes back to what I was saying. Like, there's a lot of people who desire you. There's a lot of people that it's that distorted desire, right? And I feel like you think also that it's a distorted desire. Like, they just want me for, and then insert reason here. But it's not necessarily always true. I feel like they see you as marriage material. But let's read this card. Let's see what else comes out with this card. 15. It says knowing the difference between needs and wants is key to navigating what is at the root of desire. It helps us to distinguish what is a self-sabotaging compulsion or mirage from what is a genuinely life-enhancing aspiration to be realistically pursued. When what we think we want is not what we need or long for at a core level, the realization of such desires potentially results in something nightmarish rather than dream fulfillment. In worst case scenarios, this can have us running for our lives, like the featured mother. Whether or not we consciously recognize a delusion for what it is, an untruth can never satisfy our needs. Illusions have no sustenance or substance and therefore cannot satiate the burning desire that mistakenly drives us to attain them in the first place. Nonetheless, at the origin of every distorted desire is an invaluable lesson for us to learn about ourselves. Gently unpack the reasons why you're turning away from rather than confronting the things that are not actually as they seem in your life. It may be necessary to compassionately release yourself from an unwarranted conviction that things or a person will magically change into what they have the potential to become and cease making excuses for why they have not. Mother's message is once we get clear on what our heart's core desire is and therefore need, we are ready to recognize it in whatever form it takes and to receive it. Make this space for your heart's true longing to come in by freeing yourself from any illusions still haunting you. And that's the thing, like, I feel like that's also a clear message as to why a lot of people haven't approached you, is because even though they're attracted to you, they're not necessarily in alignment for what you need, nor are you necessarily in alignment for what they need. They're just feeling that call back home from within, and that desire and that attraction is getting projected outward onto you. And that's why it's so vital that you continue to work on yourself, right? And continue to focus on what you want, because that is going to take you to the person that's meant to be in your life. So there's no need to run from others, but keep trusting your discernment, because your discernment is key in all of this, okay? So this is what I see here for you today, pile number 3. If you felt like this was your pile, is there a cheetah emoji? Either leave a cheetah or a cat emoji down below and say, I clearly see my path in front of me, knowing that I'm asking for and receiving what I desire and in alignment with what I need. And if it resonated, it would mean so much to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. And if you are interested in helping out the channel further, you'll find everything you need in the description box. With that, I would like to take this moment to thank your guides, your spirit messengers, your angel source, and my spirit guides for coming together to give us this very succinct and powerful message. And until next time, pile number 3, stay human. Bye.